Good morning. With temperatures expected to hit nearly 30 degrees today, Christian Clavel from Canadian First Aid Training joins us with tips for staying safe in the heat. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we'll start with the first one, which is the least severe, heat cramps.
Heat cramps, yeah. I think you know, the overarching thing here with heat-related illnesses is that a lot of this stuff sneaks up on people.
Okay.
When it comes to cramps, dehydration, overexertion, you know, electrolytes, that type of stuff, and I think you know, it can just sneak up on you, and it's a matter of just dealing with the situation as it comes.
So how would you feel if you were experiencing heat cramps?
Well, heat cramps, I think it becomes obvious. The abdominal muscles, sometimes it's in the arms, sometimes it's in the legs. It's a matter of stop what you're doing. Get in the shade. You can lightly stretch this. It's actually not, there's no permanent damage, but getting fluids, simple stuff like that can actually, you know, wind things down. So
okay, and progressing a little further from that,
right,
which is the most common, heat exhaustion.
Yeah, heat exhaustion. Yeah, this is a big one because again, it sneaks up on people, and just the simple fact of overdoing it with the exercise. Humidity plays a huge factor here. Exposure to the sun is another big one. Simple things like in terms of prevention, if you're doing physical activity like you're biking, even just having a helmet that has a lot of the air passages that get through and kind of pulls the heat away from your head will help you. But it also protects you from the exposure of the sun.
What are some of the symptoms of heat exhaustion that you might see in yourself or someone else?
Yeah, like just an example, we did event first aid, and a child was exposed to the sun all day. It was about 21, 22 degrees all day, but just the lack of eating and the dehydration that developed, the nausea started to develop towards the end of the day. Really hot to the skin, and believe it or not, at the end of the day, she was actually shivering. But that was in the extreme case. We ended up having to call the ambulance because it was just she had reached the wall.
Are children more susceptible, or
absolutely?
Anybody?
Yeah. The elderly, children. When it comes down to it, is knowing your limits, and I think a lot of this has to do with the people just overdoing it, and that at some point it hits them. So yeah.
Okay, and then the most severe is, of course, heat stroke.
Heat stroke, yeah. This is drastic. The body stops sweating. That's huge. Hot, dry. Even the consciousness of the person starts to become is in question because they're not making absolute sense, and sometimes they lose consciousness. And at this point, you have to be calling 911. It's not something you wait for.
And that is, we want to pull up some of the big points that if you are in a heat emergency or you do see someone else, one of them there is get help sooner than later. Call if you're even in
you know,
question.
we're not medical professionals, so if it you know, even if you call Health Links, something simple like that, they may be able to guide you through some of the things that you may be able to do before you go to the clinic or you go to the hospital. Generalized cooling of the body in any way, shape, or form, especially with heat stroke. You got to cool the person under the arms and the neck and the groin. Ice packs of any kind. You need to get the person in the shade, loosen off that clothing, and if you can, just a little bit of fluid at a time, especially if it hit them hard. And maybe you just walked upon that person in a park or something. And
especially for all those guys that are working outside in the summer as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. Some people can keep on top of the fluid intake and those sports drinks. I mean, something simple like a Gatorade of some sort is what is required to keep up those electrolytes, so you don't get that cramping and it doesn't affect you.
Well, there are lots of things you can do to protect yourself. That is the biggest thing, is being prepared and planning ahead.
Yeah, being preventative.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And if you want to watch this again or for more tips about Canadian First Aid, you can find it on breakfasttelevision.ca. We're taking a quick break. Stay with us.